Welcome to the Patriettes podcast. Good evening, everyone. Tonight is episode 43 of season 2 of the Patriettes podcast. We live stream every Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. right here from the America First Warehouse, the most patriotic venue in all the land. It truly
you weren't
is.
saying it, I was.
I know. If you haven't been here, you've got to get here. But tonight we're really excited. We have two wonderful guests with us. To my left, or on the right from your screen probably, we have Kerry Wachter from Massapequa School Board. She's joined us on Zoom before, and she's with us in person. We'll be getting to some of her stuff a little later in the show. But to my other side, we have this beautiful young lady, Alden Sikora. She's 17 years old, and she's a senior in high school this year. She's been involved in politics since 2020 at the ripe age of 12. She realized her conservative views, right? I know. Grab them young, right?
Yes.
But she realized her conservative views were not looked upon very favorably in New York, and sad to say, in her public school district. And so she was inspired, I guess, and and started a mission. She's got a website, and it's called American Symposium, but it's symposiumamerican.com. And instead of saying too much, we'll let Alden speak for herself.
Sure.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you guys so much for having me. So my name is Alden Sikora. I'm a senior in high school this year. I go to high school in Nassau County, so a little, not as far out in the island. So I came across, it was 2020, I was a bored 12-year-old, and I was scrolling on YouTube, and I came across a Michael Knowles video. It was like rating woke commercials or something like that, and 12-year-old me thought that was cool. I didn't even know that it was political. So I started looking into that, and I watched that video, and I found it funny. And my family was already kind of right-wing, so yeah, very for Trump. So I kind of laughed at the jokes. I thought they were funny. I wasn't a leftist or anything at that point. And so I kind of just went down the rabbit hole from there. That video ended, so I clicked on his channel to see if there was, any more fun content. And from there, I kind of just started watching long-form shows, and I got involved in the Daily Wire, so I was watching a lot of those shows a couple months in. And then I would start hearing things that would contradict what I was hearing on Daily Wire in school. And at that point, it was very, very woke, very liberal. Biden was the president, and it was during COVID, so it was kind of crazy. That was probably the craziest point that I had joined politics.
I just want to let you know, as grown adults, it was the craziest point in time for us in politics.
Yeah. No, I think back.
In the world, across the globe.
You're not alone.
Yeah. I think back at some of the things that I had to see and hear, and it was crazy. But I would hear a lot of people talk about things, even teachers teach things in the classroom that were contradictory to what I was hearing in the shows that I was watching. And so I didn't want to blindly subscribe to either side. So I did a lot of my research. I would literally go home, and I would remember what a teacher was saying, and I would research it, and I would find statistics and studies and things like that. I found that what Michael Knowles, what Ben Shapiro was saying was right. So it kind of just launched from there. That was kind of when I fell down the rabbit hole, and so I've been really involved ever since. And I watch press conferences, and I'll watch anything that I can get my hands on. I watch like a lot of just niche things like confirmation hearings. Is watching a lot of those.
Wasn't that amazing? I started watching those when they were going on, and I'm telling you, I was never a political person at all, ever. It was like, my dad was the political one, and you never spoke politics with my father. He's also on the right.
It's all we talk about.
Oh my God.
That's the only thing we do.
I mean, like, I live for press conferences that he gives, and just
right, press conferences.
Oh my God.
And worship music. Your life is changed drastically.
Well, and hearings. When you listen to Senate hearings, and you listen to meetings they're having on the floor of the House or in Congress, you get to watch our government in real time, in action, and you get to hear the truth for yourself. You don't have to, whether what's being spoken is true or not is another story, but you get to at least see it played out. You don't have to rely on and then you still have to go then and do more digging. But good for you.
I have a 17-year-old daughter, and she's a Patriot, but you got to come hang out and rub off. Sorry, you need to step up your game, G.
I mean, that's how I, became, I guess, right wing, because I grew up in New York City in school, but right around that time, you watch C-SPAN and you watch the hearings for yourself, and then I would go back and watch the meeting. I'm like, wait a minute, that's not what happened. And that's how you do it. First, the first.
You see how they put the spin on things, how they cut things and manipulate what really happened to fit their narrative.
So primary sources, right?
Yeah.
You go right to
Definitely.
the right to the
I only just recently got a TV in my room, but I had said for a while that I wanted a TV in my room because I could put C-SPAN on the background. I love C-SPAN so much. It sounds so nerdy.
I love it.
I don't put it on as often as I would like
I
because
mean, I'm a newsman girl, but I love that. Whatever you're watching, watch it. That's amazing.
Yeah.
You're not watching the garbage that's out there. That's most important.
yeah, so I don't put it on as much because electricity bills are a thing. But yeah, I love all of it, and anything that I can really just dig into and get my hands on, I'm just really interested in that.
So as your views deepened, because it sounds like when you went out and did your own due diligence and research, you grew more acclimated and aligned with the right side, I'd say.
Yeah.
And I don't mean right correct, I mean right R-I-G-H-T.
I mean, both
the
can be true,
conservative
but
side. Yeah. Well, yeah. So what was your journey after that? What made you go on to do and become the activist and outspoken person that you are, and what's that been like?
Yeah, so I was in 6th grade when COVID had hit. So it was really around 8th grade that I got really interested in it to the point where I kind of wanted to start speaking out about it in my school. And at that point, I had already known, we had a pride club in my middle school, and everybody I just knew was like left. So I knew I wasn't going to be looked upon fondly, but like I believed that it was actually the right thing to do. And even if I wasn't right, as in correct, it's still good to have both sides represented.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah, so I started speaking out, and I especially started speaking out when one of my friends, I became friends with her now because of this, but she had to go to the ISS room, the in-school suspension room, every time, because we had still had the masks when I was in 8th grade.
Oh, my kids lived in suspension during those.
Yeah, so she refused to wear a mask to school, so she was sitting
Whoever you are, we love you.
Yes.
Good for her.
All
She's
right.
at, I believe she's at Florida State now.
Not
so.
many kids held the line. In fact, my kids were the only kids in my town holding the
Yeah.
line. So
So shout out to my friend there.
yes, shout out to her.
But I emailed her and I just, I said, I don't know if you know me, but, we're in social studies class together and, I just really support you. And that's kind of how our friendship started. And then I started putting Post-its on my locker in all caps, free, and then her name, and they would get ripped down. I would pass by when I was walking to a different class and it wouldn't be there anymore. And so I just kind of started the system where I'd have a bunch of Post-its stacked up in my locker.
Ready to go.
And every time I passed by, it would literally be going from class to class. I just unlocked my locker, took a Post-it out, stuck it on there, and went. And so
God,
I kind
love
of
you.
one
That's
day I
amazing.
planned it out, and
Like
I
nothing's
caught-
stopping you.
Yes, and I caught who was doing it. So I stood up and I was like, can you please stop touching my stuff? And it stayed up. So
Nice.
I've always kind of had that headstrong, like I'm gonna do this and this is gonna work, and I'm not gonna let anybody stop me.
You know what they say about redheads?
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
I come from an Irish family with a lot of redheads, and they're very stubborn. I love it.
Yeah, so from there, I kind of just became like the conservative, the political person in my school. I'm very outspoken. I am a moderator at my school's Model Congress Club. So I kind of lead the conversation, and a lot of the times, it's interesting to hear what kids say, but a lot of the times I'll be one of the only kids there. Out of maybe a group of 15 kids, it'll be me and like 2 other people who actually align more with the right side. So it's really interesting to see that, but I've always also focused on being a good person, obviously, too, and kind of having people see who I am as a person first, and then maybe realizing, oh, she's kind of conservative, because I've been called a lot of things. I've been called, racist and sexist and homophobic. I've been asked, somebody asked me what my political view was, a good friend of mine too, and, I said, yeah, I'm definitely more on the right. I don't like to go out and say, I'm a conservative, I'm, rock ribs and all that. So I said, yeah, I'm more to the right, and she goes, oh, so does that mean that you don't like Jewish people? And I
Oh
said,
my
well, that's actually
God.
not true. That's actually completely the
Lord,
opposite.
help
I'm a Bible believing Christian, so obviously the Jews wrote the Bible, and my Savior is a Jew, so obviously I don't believe that. I had to kind of explain to her and bring her out of that mindset, because
Right.
that's the way that people are a lot, whether they choose to be or not.
Yeah.
So I've always tried to prioritize people looking at me as a good person first, as opposed to being, that nasty
Well, I think that
conservative.
dispels the narrative.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I actually, like, Ernie could tell you this, like when we're driving, I have all my Trump and MAGA stuff on. I won't engage with people or give the finger, or like I
Yeah.
want them to leave thinking that, like, I dispel the narrative of
Yes.
what they already
Exactly.
have in your head.
Well,
Kill them
and
with
it's
kindness.
yes, and it's really, if you're a Christian, let them see Christ in you
right.
first.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
politics and the government stuff come behind
That's right.
that.
That's right.
But if you're kind and you're loving and you engage the world in a good way, and all of us fall down, I fall short. We all have bad moments. We're all human. But if in general you're putting that olive branch forward, you're extending yourself in like generosity and love to humankind, some people are going to wonder. And when you do get the opportunity to have those conversations, it is going to be a game changer, I think.
Sure,
Yeah.
respect
Yeah,
you already.
absolutely.
They're going into it with a respect for you already.
So have you experienced that at all?
Oh yeah,
Winning
definitely.
people over?
Yeah, you talk about having stickers on your car and magnets and things like that. I actually have a bunch of pins on my backpack. So it's kind of like the same thing where, not that I'm like, this bad girl who always wants to, get in trouble anyway, but it definitely kept me on the right path because, maybe I'll think of doing something that, maybe people don't advise doing. And, obviously every teen does.
Well-behaved women really
And-
make history. Isn't that the saying?
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. So I kind of think of that and I say, maybe I shouldn't do that because I have these pins on my backpack and people know what I believe. And that doesn't look good, especially if I'm one of the only representatives in my community, in my school community that believes what I do. Let me not do that and let me show them that, we can rise above what we're seeing and we're actually good people and we care for society and we care for, especially law and order and things like that. So that's definitely
That's a
something
good
I prioritize.
characteristic of a leader.
Love you.
Me too, right? I want you to be our new best friend.
It is. It is. Well,
I will
I just
accept.
want to
I love that.
praise you for
Yes.
for that because a lot of people wear a lot of things and say they're a lot of things. They don't always live it. But we do have to go to commercial break. So when we come back, we'll continue the conversation. Stay with us.
Great.
See you in a minute.
Robert Cornicelli doesn't write for attention. In What is White, Cornicelli exposes an uncomfortable truth. Whiteness isn't an identity, it's a weapon, one used to divide us, while the system thrives on guilt and control. It's for everyday Americans ready to push past guilt, question the lies, and reclaim who they are. Proceeds support the Veteran Recovery Coalition, helping veterans rebuild their lives. What is White? Available now.
Who broke the television? Can we laugh at that? Sounds a little mean.
As of this week, public gay sex will now be mandatory. Cards.
Am I the only one that sees lips move?
Cheek bones, baby.
I'm sorry, maybe I overreacted.
Corporate transfer. Find professional, moving and storage, and inventory management.
Hey, fellow Patriots, it's Cindy Gross here, host of Right for America from your favorite place, the America First Warehouse. You've seen me show on my show so many products from this country's #1 most patriotic manufacturer with close to 400 products. You need to exchange the products you use in your house to this company and make your dollars count in our country.
All right, live from Studio 6B on a Friday night, live at the America First Warehouse. Live at the America First Warehouse on a Friday, Real America's Voice, all across the country, 103.9 LI News Radio, all across your radio, Suffolk County, Long Island. Glad you're in.
It's me, Joe the Box, the America First Warehouse, most patriotic venue in all the land.
The America First Warehouse, a beacon for all to see, a symbol of unity. For the patriots of America, we stand tall and free. In the America First Warehouse, where our hearts will always be.
Welcome back to the Patriettes podcast. We have Alden Sikora, right? Did I get that right? Sikora.
Alden Sikora, yes.
I look at your last name and I see Sky,
Alden
even though
Sikora.
Alden Sikora. I look at your last name, I see the word Sky, even just in
I did
reverse,
too.
right? Anyway, we have you with us, and we were talking about all the experiences you've had that have led you to do the work that you're doing, which we'd love to get into now. Aside from being just an activist in your own little corner of your world in high school, you've been involved with some organizations and started your own website. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I started my own website. Well, actually, I was writing for another kind of third-party website that kind of supported teens in writing. So they would support just various topics. If you wanted to write poetry, if you wanted to write fiction, we had some politics on there too. I would send my pieces in, and they would be looked over by an editor just to make sure, there was nothing bad. That they didn't want on their website, and most of my pieces would be accepted. So for a while, I started writing. January of my sophomore year, I started writing for that third-party website, and it was working out well. And then a few months into it, my pieces just stopped being accepted. I would email it to them, I would submit it in, and they would never. Usually, they would go up within like a week or so, and they never did. And at that point, I was writing pretty regularly. I was writing like I was writing a piece a week. So they just kind of stopped, and I said, "Well, I don't want
No.
I emailed them, I asked them, I never got any response. So one could
Assume
presume,
what the reason would be. Yeah.
Never want to say explicitly, like, I know this is why if I don't have proof, but so kind of just stopped being accepted. So I've always been the kind of person to say, okay, well, if this isn't working, but I know I still have something that I should do or that I need to do, I'm going to find another way to do it. And so that kind of eventually led me to the idea of making my own website.
I love
so
that.
I could put up whatever I wanted there.
That's
There
a
you
beautiful
go.
Thing.
Yeah, so I created my website. It's American Symposium. You can find it at symposiumamerican.com. So I still write. I've uploaded, pretty much all of my pieces that I've written on that other website. I've uploaded to here. I still write pieces every week. I have.
They're really phenomenal.
They really
Annie
are.
texted us last night. She goes, "This girl's incredible."
I couldn't believe.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. I was
Yeah, she
blown
was blown
away.
away.
Yeah, she said, you guys if you haven't done it yet, you have to go read some of her articles.
Oh my God, I'm
writings.
just.
And
I
I'm
didn't
gonna
have
have
that
an
today.
opportunity for you here in the coming week. So if you were willing to
Great.
share your articles with us, we
Sure.
have a spot
Oh, they're
for them.
amazing.
Sure,
And you're
great.
it's inspiring. You're so well spoken. Your writing is
Thank
so
you.
well done. And it's so interesting to hear your perspective as a 17-year-old.
Yeah, that's kind of what I try to monopolize on, because when I started things up, I thought to myself, if you take a piece written by Ben Shapiro about some complex foreign policy issue in Israel, and then you take the same topic written by some 17-year-old with like no credentials, what one are you going to pick? I would pick Ben Shapiro. Like, I wouldn't even pick my own. And so I tried to find a way to integrate my perspective and my experiences and what I have personally seen. Because if you take an issue, if you take the topic of like a conversation that a conservative has with her liberal peers, Ben Shapiro can write about that from kind of like a removed point of view, or you can take the perspective of the kid that was actually in it and read that. So I kind of try to monopolize on that. I read a lot. I try to educate myself a lot. And so I take kind of all of that from the intellectual side. So like, for example, over the summer, I started reading the Federalist Papers. So that was really eye-opening. And I learned a lot about that, about how America, was constructed and the meanings of all of our systems. And so I take that and I kind of apply it to things that are happening today, or even conversations that I'll have with my peers, because that kind of connects the ideological and like more intellectual realm with like the actual on the ground, like what the people really are saying and what the people really care about. And it also kind of connects my personal perspective with, the broader conservative movement, because I think that's a voice that really matters in the movement itself. Yeah.
Sure does. I'm blown away.
It's just incredible. Like the few that I did read, one of them was the article on unseemly solutions for unnecessary problems.
Even the titles are great.
Yeah.
I take after Bill Buckley on that. I don't know if you guys are familiar with his stuff, but he had a lot of interesting titles that he would, kind of catch readers with, and so I try to.
I love that.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is, but I love that concept.
And then your article on the American flag, that one was allegiance to whom it is owed.
Yes.
And talk about that a little bit.
Well, I wrote that one in the midst of President Trump signed the executive order to criminalize the burning of the American flag, which nothing had really changed. You know, you can't change law with an executive order, but he kind of just set the precedent, set the narrative that, like, burning the American flag, obviously for people, you know, if you're in a public area and it's in danger to people, obviously that's illegal. That has been, that, you know, that is right now. But that also kind of set the narrative, and it started the conversation of, well, should burning the American flag be illegal just in general? If you just want to do it on your private property, should that be illegal? And I argue that, yes, it should be, in concordance with President Trump, because it's not just a symbol of the current politics. You know, people cite the First Amendment, you know, Thomas Massey. I think I explicitly talk about Thomas Massey in that piece, where he has, you know, good intentions, but he used the First Amendment in his argument, say that this is a violation of the First Amendment. But it isn't, in the sense that the First Amendment protects political speech and protects, you know, freedom of speech, but the American flag isn't something transient. It's something that, it's something that transcends the entire political order. It transcends Republicans and Democrats and even conservatives and liberals. It, you know, it symbolizes America. And America, if you believe that America was inherently great, you believe that American flags are inherently great, and you shouldn't have the right to desecrate the sacred symbol of our sacred country.
We've had that contention. That's how we've spoken about it forever.
Yes, we have. I get mental.
Yeah.
And I've been in situations in D.C. where I've seen them burning flags, and I FAFO, because I can't handle that.
You articulate it so well.
Thank you.
You really do.
More respectfully than I just articulated my stance. No, definitely.
FAFO.
Definitely. That's where my brain goes in situations
I want
like
to
that.
just share a little bit of this, if it's okay. I want to read like a closing segment of one of yours. I
Yeah,
think it
everything's
was,
public, so sure.
It was entitled Madison's Warning. And I think, was this one that you talked about, the Federalist Papers?
Yes. Yes, I just wrote that one recently.
But just in closing, I just want you to get a taste for her writing. In the story of human history, lust for power is and will remain a constant. It is the vigilance of those that decide to whom such power is granted that is subject to periods of anemia and of hardiness. And so may we never fail to continue the path forged for us across this last 250 years. And may we never shake the spirit our country relies on for her very goodness and existence, as goes Madison's warning. I mean, it's beautiful. Incredibly well written.
Yeah.
It's
you.
just power in your words, in your written words. They really
Thank you so
resonate.
much.
They're so strong.
I love that.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
just remarkable.
Where do you see yourself going in the future?
Definitely into politics. My number one school, actually, is, as you might not be surprised, is Hillsdale College in South Central Michigan. Yeah, you said it before.
So we have
to
good-
connect you with Tom.
Yes, because we have good friends. We
Great.
have a young lady that was on from Hillsdale, our friend's daughter. They sit on the board, our friends. So.
I think I actually am in contact with them. Yeah.
Okay, good, because they're great, and if we'll help you with that. That's a beautiful aspiration, actually.
I love that.
It's the only college I really would want my kids to go into.
It's the only college I kind of want to go to, too.
So once through college, where do you see yourself going from there? Law school, or just no law school and just into
Well, I've
public
actually
service,
I've had that hinted at me a lot of law school, but my heart is really in politics, and I'm really, obviously I love the law. I love reading it. I love learning about how to read it, and all the things like that. Again, model Congress, so I research a lot for that. So that is a lot of reading the laws and things like that. But I think my heart really is in politics, and so I don't think I could put off politics for a couple of years of law school and then practicing law if I wanted to do that before I got into politics. So if I could, I'd really want to go to Hillsdale to study politics.
I was going to say, like, when we were talking before about Congress and the hearings, I wanted to be a lawyer for a long time, and I decided I'll probably run for Congress one day, and then you get to enjoy the law part of it.
Yeah.
In Congress hearings, so maybe we'll be getting behind you for a congressional campaign.
Oh, that would be
and then
that
you
would
can
be
enjoy
great.
your law. I mean, right? Because the hearings is a really it's a form of like a trial. It's a hearing.
Yeah.
So it's a form of law. So I feel like that could maybe be a good path if that's what interests you. And fine, I'll help you on a congressional campaign.
I'll walk for you.
Yeah,
for sure.
You give so much hope.
Yes.
In a seemingly bleak time, right? With the American,
right.
where we are today, and where our generation and the generation before us kind of let things
In
honestly
fact,
sink to.
I have a great opportunity for you.
Oh.
Yeah, we're going to talk. I know somebody, I think, would you intern for someone running for Congress
Yeah,
right now?
of course.
There you go.
I got a plan for you. We'll talk
Okay.
after.
I love that. I think I
Stay
know where
tuned,
you're going.
audience. We'll fill you in because I have a good plan here. I love
I
connecting
think I
people.
know where you're
T is
going.
the ultimate connector. She really
Yeah,
is
you
a
are.
good one. She's one of the best that I know. Susan, you're right. You are too.
I'll join with you. We could do it. We'll connect together.
There you go.
Susan. We'll work together. We can empower housing.
Amazing connect. That's a gift.
I just don't have an ego that way. I feel like the more people that, if I can match people up, then we match people up, and we all
It's
get
more for the
stronger in
better.
numbers. You know.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
I feel like it would be great for you to be able to go around to schools and start little
Yeah.
clubs or help people get involved in TPUSA.
Turning
I was going
or,
to say,
you know,
are you
like-
involved in Turning Point at all?
So it's actually a funny story with all of that. I tried to start a YAF chapter in my sophomore year, Young Americans for Freedom, which is encompassed by the overall organization of Young Americans Foundation. And they're great. You know, they have the campus tours and things like that. Yeah, I got a lot of pushback from my school. A lot of pushback. A lot of suspicious. You know, initially they told me, okay, it's too early to start one now, but come back to us in June, my sophomore year. So I did.
We'll help you with that too.
Okay. Yeah, but it got to the point where I just needed like a volunteer advisor because their budget, you know, they ran out of their budget. They couldn't pay anybody else to be an advisor. And so, yeah, a friend and I were working on that, but we still don't have it because
that
there was just a
true?
lot of...
Well, they need
can
a
a teacher
you
just
need
do
an
it as
advisor
a-
to have any
Yeah.
club. You need an advisor.
But do they get a stipend, or can
They
they
do
just
get a
do it?
stipend, but
Oh,
there's a
that's-
certain amount of clubs that get stipends, and then once you're out, then you have a volunteer. Which I
Yeah.
mean, I know we have a couple of clubs that are volunteer based because maybe the advisor feels passionately about it.
So I had to ask a school board member this.
but-
Yeah.
Because I think that's
But
a
we
bunch
do.
of BS.
Well, I'm sure they're trying
Yeah,
to
it was
discourage
all-
but as long as you get an advisor, and maybe if you know a teacher that is more conservative, they may volunteer, and then there's nothing they can really do.
Yeah.
Well,
Hold that thought.
yeah, well, the door is not shut yet, but this door is closing for our next commercial break. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Judges, broken families, families torn apart. This is injustice. If you've been wronged by the system, join us. Don't stand alone. Hi, I'm Gary Jacobs, president of Americans for Legal Reform. We're the oldest legal reform group in the United States. The justice system in the United States should be transparent, fair, and open to everybody and accessible. Unfortunately, many times that's not the case. At Americans for Legal Reform, we are here to help. Join the movement. Visit AmericansForLegalReform.com and help reform the system before it fails you.
Hi, my name is Elena Ruseva, aka Megalangela. Please check my art at www.megalangela.vip.
Are you a musician, comedian, actor, filmmaker, or artist who stands for traditional American values? Do you believe in the preservation of our nation, our culture, and our freedoms? If you share our passion for America and want to use your talents to make a difference, we want to hear from you. Our mission is clear. Through the arts, we uphold the principles of freedom, faith, family, and the American spirit. It's time to step up to the mic and make your voices heard. So contact us at AmericanConservativeArtists.com. The Queens Village Republican Club is America's oldest Republican club, founded in 1875. Situated in President Trump's hometown in Queens, New York, we are America First MAGA Republicans, empowering fellow Republicans to get involved in the game of politics at the grassroots level. We host inspiring monthly club meetings on the first Thursday of each month at 8 p.m. For more information, please go to our website at www.qvgop.org.
It's Tuesday here at the America First Warehouse. I am Joe the Box.
And I'm John the Blanket. Freddie Rubino here with my podcast. That's what I'm talking about. Coming to you live from the most patriotic venue in the land.
Welcome to Right for America.
I'm James Justice. We got Stephen Ruth over here. What are we doing, Steve? Fighting
Welcome to Tune In Tuesday of the Patriots podcast, live streaming every Tuesday night at 7:30.
Another edition of On the Right Side here, and you can catch us weekly Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.
And welcome to Liberty's Cage, where we rip the veil off America's broken justice system, prisons that crush spirits, and a society that shuns people who have paid their price.
Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Kevin Downey Jr. podcast. Be free, stay free.
Welcome to Suffocating in Suburbia with me, your host, Stevie GB.
Welcome back to the Patriettes podcast. We're going to shift gears a little bit, but still dealing with schools and the nonsense that goes on and that these poor kids that don't think this way have to deal with every day. But Carrie Wachter is with us from Massapequa School Board, and if you remember, she's been with us before via Zoom with all this.
My favorite board members out there.
Oh yeah, she's a bold fighter.
We get the monthly or so updates on. Yeah.
There's always something going on.
You became an honorary.
Yes, exactly. Well, I'm so happy to be here in person, to be sitting with you and not on Zoom. So thank you so much for inviting me and and staying up on what's been going on. And yes, we're in the news again. Shocking. We just we try to just sit there and do our business every day, but no, it just
Massapequa just likes to be on the front page of papers. And they just have nothing else to do. They just want to cause trouble in Long Island. No, the best. Yes,
every school should be. Rebel rousers there.
That's right. You're my favorite ones.
Yeah, thanks. So what's going on? We as the new school year started, and we saw what was going on with enforcement. At the federal level, we just wanted to affirm for our staff that we
not gender affirm.
Not gender affirm.
For audience members that don't know, this is about transgenders in bathrooms.
Yeah, so we passed a resolution saying we were aligning with Title IX and the executive order from President Trump, and that we were not going to allow boys in the girls' locker room or vice versa. We said all students had to use the bathroom of their biological sex, and if not, they could use a gender-neutral facility, which is very reasonable. We made accommodations for all because that's who we are as a board. We have to look out for all of our students, and so we said, hey, this is what has to happen. And unfortunately, we had an incident where that was not the case, and then the New York Civil Liberties Union sued the school district, and they appealed to the Commissioner of Education in New York because they knew what they were going to get, and they asked for a stay, and they asked for our resolution to be annulled. So, of course, she dutifully issued that stay, even though we had very good arguments about why, and we had a lot of case law on our side, and we said we never mentioned transgender students. We said all students have to behave this way. Right. We never singled out anyone, and so then we filed in the federal court because we feel obviously Title IX is the law of the land. Right. Yep. And we all know about supremacy. Federal law supersedes, and when Joe Biden was changing Title IX, we got these memos constantly from the lawyers in the state, breathlessly telling us all we had to update our policies to be in line with the Joe Biden. But now that President Trump has gone back to the original meaning of Title IX, they all say, no, you don't have to follow that. You have to follow state law.
How the tables turn, right?
Gender law, which again, well, I know my lawyers don't like me talking about law, but nothing in these laws say that it's discrimination to allow these kids to not allow them to go into the bathroom of their gender identity. That's not discrimination because it applies to all people. So, like I said, there's case law. Our lawyers have found it, and we believe the law is on our side. So, as you can imagine, all the activists across Long Island, because New York Civil Liberties Union is the one who put this out. We really didn't want this to be public. With the masks, it was one thing. We were fighting, the state and all that kind of stuff.
Like a blanket fight,
but this is more personal, I feel like, and we really wanted to keep a low key on it. And but whatever, it came to us, and so we're not backing down. The first meeting we had a bunch of activists there give us fake addresses because we only
Does
allow.
Kilnick got that one?
What's that?
Kilmick, was he at that one? The leader of the
David Kilmick.
Oh, I don't
God,
know.
he's the
Yeah,
evil.
No, I don't. Yeah, I
he
don't
probably
know.
sent them if he wasn't
probably. No, it's hard to tell when you're out in the. You
Yeah.
can't see them all the way back there. But so they were giving fake addresses. And at our board meeting, we only allow residents in attendance because this is our community, and that's who we want to hear from, people in our community. So they were giving us fake addresses. So the next meeting, we said you had to give us a driver's license. You had to prove that you lived here. So that kind of shut it down a little bit. But can I say how in awe I was of the girls that spoke up at our last
Amazing.
meeting.
Wow.
So many
got
young
chills.
girls, because they all the activists kept saying it's the parents, it's not the kids. And these girls, one after another got up and said, no, we don't want this. We don't want this in our locker room. Yes, it's hard enough to change amongst our peers.
Yeah.
And then of course they're trying to now change that and say, oh, see, they don't want to change at all, so you should have private stalls for everybody. And I'm like, that's not what they were saying.
That's not what they were saying.
They were not saying that.
They're just saying it's uncomfortable enough, and it is. I don't like getting in. I'm a grown adult. I don't like getting undressed in front of anybody. Anybody.
Do you remember stores that used to have like the whole open?
Yeah.
The whole open.
Yeah, I hated that.
I don't even. Ernie will tell you I don't even like to get undressed or dressed in front of. I don't like to get undressed and dressed in front of people.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Yeah.
You're allowed to have one moment in your life where you can be a little, and if you have to be in a locker room anyway with other girls at that age, where it's, everyone's so self-conscious as it is. I don't want to get started on the whole boy thing because my views are very strong in this. And my town knew if a boy ends up in the bathroom with my daughter, I'm coming after you directly.
Well, we have a 17-year-old high school student sitting at our table. Have you had experiences with this in your district, and what's your sentiment?
Yeah, so to utilize my perspective, I mean, at this age, it is definitely already hard, and I know I am friends with a lot of people who, in our locker room, we have like private. They're shower stalls, but nobody really showers anymore, like in the school. So So we have like 4 of those. So a lot of girls go in there to change for gym. A lot of girls will just, wear clothing the day of, whether that be out of convenience or they don't want to change in front of, their friends. But I have one student who I know personally who he transitioned when we were in second grade, so we're in the same grade. So it was like around second grade or first grade. Because I barely remember it, but I remember it enough to know that it was actually like happening.
So child abuse to me, but go ahead, continue.
Yeah, exactly. And so I saw him once walk into like the ladies' bathroom in my school, and I knew that had been the case. I knew that that's how it had worked, but just seeing it personally, like, kind of shook me. I was like, this is crazy. Like, this is a boy who looks enough like a girl to go into the girls' bathroom, and everybody's too afraid to actually say something. So it really does affect us. And I don't know if there is anybody out there, but if there is anybody out there who is saying that this really isn't an issue, it is. I see it all the time. It makes the situation worse because obviously girls are already self-conscious enough at this point to not want to change around anybody and change around a boy nonetheless, even if they don't know that that's the case. It's really just, it's disgusting.
They're going through so much in their adolescence as they're growing, and
we all know the story from Virginia. We know what can happen. Who's willing to take that chance with their child?
Never.
That party,
Never.
100%.
Never.
But I am never going to risk the chance of a boy who claims to be a girl being in. I mean, I threatened to like burn down my superintendent's house if that happened. Like literally, I mean, Andrew's with me. I'm not trying.
He goes to another level.
I go to other levels with this stuff because absolutely not.
No,
I don't know what planet we're living on.
Yeah.
On planet Earth, there's 2 genders that God made for people, and they do not belong commingling as adolescents in school where they should be privately having the safety that they deserve.
Yeah,
That's
100%. Right, and so Carrie, you articulated beautifully before. You try to keep it private. You understand that you're there to protect all students, and that means all students. And so that means making a way for each person to use a restroom or a facility, and that is available.
Right.
It just one person's need can't be putting someone else's need behind a door and locking it, and saying, sorry, yours doesn't count.
Right.
That's just not a thing. It's
That's
like
right.
equal representation, right?
Right.
Which is not the way they skew it. So tell us about your meeting, your last meeting. You said a lot of these girls got up and you were so proud of them.
I was so proud of them. And we had a boy stand up too, and he talked, and we had some boys come and sit down in the back, and one of the girls was speaking and said, I know there's a lot of students here, so if you are, if this is, if you're not down with this, basically, if this makes you uncomfortable, like stand up, and they all stood up, and it was pretty profound, and
incredible.
And then as we also give deference to students if they want to come and speak at a board meeting, and we were letting them get up one after another, and again, the activists were yelling, you're letting everybody, all of them speak. And I'm like, oh, excuse me, these are our students. Any student who wants to get up will speak before anyone else in this room. I'm like, so you better pipe down or leave if you don't like it. And I was very angry. I was like, how dare you? These are children.
You kept your, regardless.
Yeah.
I'm a ticking time bomb. You sounded very professional and good.
We have a video, right?
Yes,
From
we do.
this,
Cut
how long
4.
is that?
It might be it might not be enough. Maybe a couple minutes.
Do we have enough room for cut 4 before commercial break? Yeah,
You know what?
let's
Okay, we might
pull
play
that
it.
up.
And if we have to, just go right to commercial if we have to.
Yeah, let's play it. Yep, let's play it.
Our girls deserve to be safe, they deserve to be protected, and they deserve to have safe spaces in the Massapequa School District. Thank you.
Last night, the Massapequa School Board met for the first time since New York State barred its transgender policy, and boy, was it intense. The auditorium was packed for the meeting. Parents, students, community members on both sides of the issue ready to have their voices heard. The controversy stems around Massapequa High School banning transgender students from using the bathroom or facility of their identity and forcing them to use the bathroom or facility of their birth gender. Even though the school district offered a separate gender-neutral space for these students, New York State came down and said this policy is unenforceable. The night began with the Pledge of Allegiance. Tensions rose immediately when a small group of the LGBTQ plus community refused to stand. Their decision sparked outrage. People in the community yelling at them, "Stand the F up!" Throughout the night, speakers got up to share their views. Some thanked the board for continuing to fight for this policy. Others called it discriminatory and harmful to transgender students. Despite the state's ruling, the Massapequa School Board is not backing down. The policy will now head to court for a legal challenge. It showed just how passionate Massapequa is about this policy. It seems like just one transgender student and the New York Civil Liberties Union backing them in a lawsuit allowing them to want this student to use the bathroom of their identity. As your local real estate broker, I was in attendance and I interviewed everybody. Get ready for the madness.
Wow. That's impactful, yeah?
Yeah, it was, yes, and it quite was. And, like I said, I think these groups come and think they're going to intimidate us and that we're going to back down and we're going to be afraid of them. But they don't live in our community. And one of our girls even got up and said that. This is saying how brave these girls are. They're 14 years old. And they stood up and she goes, "You people don't even live here." Good. She's like, "Why are you here?"
I love it.
Good and, and then the crowd erupted and it was just fantastic. And,
that's great. Carrie, I'm sorry to cut you. We've got to get to commercial break, so we'll be right back.
We'll come right back to that.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
All right.
The America First Ultra MAGA Store. For all your MAGA needs. We sell t-shirts, tumblers, flags, hats, sneakers, bumper stickers, and a whole lot more. The most patriotic America First retail store. The America First Ultra MAGA Store.
Gold and silver, it's God's money, and we all need it. Unfortunately, the whole precious metals industry is rigged in favor of the wealthy people. In fact, it's so complicated that 95% of all Americans don't own any precious metals. What the industry needed was a way for us to buy fractional units of precious metals, get free storage in a secure vault, have them insured, take physical possession of the metals, or instantaneously liquidate the assets at one of the highest buyback prices in the industry. Well, now there is. It's called a sound money account, and everybody needs one. With a membership, you can start buying gold and silver with as little as $1. Now that fits everyone's budget. Also, our members can gift gold and silver between each other in our Sound Money accounts. What a great way to pass on generational wealth. You'll be able to rest easier knowing you have the security and flexibility found in having your very own Sound Money account. Please scan the QR code or go to tafwsoundmoney.com to learn more. The America First Warehouse wants every American to have access to owning their very own precious metals.
at the America First Warehouse. Live at the America First Warehouse on a Friday, Real America's Voice, all across the country, 103.9 LI News Radio, all across your radio, Suffolk County, Long Island. Glad you're in.
America First Warehouse was really the most patriotic venue that you can ever imagine. We wanted to build something for people to be able to come to and feel so comfortable and so relaxed, because there is nothing out there like it. We give an opportunity for people to really feel good about themselves and about this great country.
Welcome back. Carrie, I'm sorry we had to cut you off, but please pick up with that story about from the school board, how proud you were, and some of these girls, how bold they were.
Yeah, it was very impactful. And like I said, they all stood together. They stood up in a room where there was, you know, a significant group of outsiders, activists, you know, all in, you know, with their flags and everything.
And they can be very...
And they were very loud and you know,
aggressive.
And these girls got up and, yeah, they started to, you know, the activists were all like, why are you letting them speak? And I'm like, they're our students. And they stood up, the students, and said, you don't live here. Why are you even here? And I think speaker after speaker got up and said, you know, the board is being reasonable here. You know, it was... You use the bathroom of your biological sex, or there's another facility to use, and that's it. And there's even another locker room. And you know, I'm sure as our guest here can tell you, the students use the gender neutral bathrooms because they want the privacy of the single occupancy. Like I asked my son, he's like, Mom, I use it every day. He's like, I don't want to be in the bathroom with anybody else. So
it's for everybody, both sides.
So it's
of
not
it.
stigmatizing because that's what they say. You know, it's stigmatizing. It's not stigmatizing.
It's not. Lots of people use them.
We're being reasonable. We're doing the right thing. We're standing up for our girls. We're going to continue to stand up for our girls. We hope that we'll get some help from the feds. In some way. We did file in federal court, and so we're going to see how that goes. But, you know, it is the Eastern District of New York, so, you know, we have to see how that goes. And, you know, a lot of prayer. This is on our prayer list every day that, you know, I know what we're doing is right, and I just ask God to bless this and let the cooler heads prevail here. You know, we didn't ask for this fight. We really don't ever ask for fights. We really do try to do things the right way and try to find peace. But unfortunately people don't, and at some point you have to stand up, you know. And one of our board members, you know, when we were talking about this, you know, said sometimes you have to stand up for your values because they're not your values if you don't stand up for them.
That's right.
And if you know that you're going to go to a specific line and back down, then they will always take you to that line.
Right.
So that's, and I have to say, my fellow board members, I mean, the 5 of us are, my goodness, lockstep.
I love
we
that.
are dedicated. We are strong on our values. We're willing to sacrifice and stand on those principles no matter what. And when you have a board of 5 principled people, we will choose the right thing every time.
That's amazing.
You did that. It's amazing that I serve with these 4 other people. They are just fantastic. I'm so grateful I get to be the spokesperson for them. But they are just as strong and just as courageous as I am. And, you know, I can do it because they have my back. And our community, too. Our community has our back. And that's why we said we did all the things we can do with the mascots, with the masks, with everything else. It's because our community stands behind us. And yes, we have a handful that don't, but you know, and of course, as typical liberals, they think everyone thinks like them, but they don't.
The overwhelming majority is
we need to pander to the 1%.
The overwhelming majority is supportive of our stance, and even people who, let's say, would be on the, you know, more center left, or maybe they are Democrats, or maybe they, you know, they're not, you know, MAGA, because they said this is not a MAGA issue.
No.
This is just
you could
normal
talk to your very liberal neighbor, and if you
Yes.
just take it out of the school context and just say to them, would you want a possible, you know, male in the bathroom with your young daughter?
Yet they say no.
When people say America is more far apart than ever, I actually disagree sometimes.
They're really not. I
think that's a narrative that's given. I think if you really have conversations like Charlie Kirk tried to, you know, like tell us all to do.
He did so well.
we're not that far apart on common sense stuff.
Right,
You
and
know,
this is a common sense issue.
a
I think
common sense
everybody,
issue.
right and left, think this. It's only the very fringe left who
But that
thinks.
but that brings me to another thought, right? Because all of the things we're sitting here discussing tonight are important. And still, you have to get to the root of it. What is at the root of all this? And I think a lot of people get stuck in fighting an issue and not stepping back and getting the global picture of what is actually going on in our state and in our community, in our communities, our state and our nation and the larger world, which is a slow, it's not even that slow anymore, but a methodical, intentional destruction of the West. And
That's right.
it's very important to recognize that there is intention behind what we're seeing happening.
Especially for this topic.
Yes.
Yes.
You know, I don't want to cut your thought off.
No, you're not.
But for this specifically, they start vaccinating our babies at a few days old that have aborted fetal cells in the vaccine. So you are changing the composition of your child's DNA from a baby. So right away, that's the seed that started for this transgender stuff, right? Then you try to make it through the elementary school years. As soon as they get to adolescence, they are shoving this transgenderism down their throat. It's all over the place. They target special needs kids. I mean, it really is a very methodical, very scary plan that starts from birth.
Well, it's insidious. It's in all the media that they see, right? I mean, I'm sure
they're breaking down the heteronormative.
Yeah,
true.
Like I said earlier, my middle school, which you go into middle school when you're like
6th grade.
Yeah, 6th grade. So it's like
11,
12, 13.
yeah.
Yeah, you go into that, and we have a pride club. And my high school now, we decorate. Well, not we like I, but the pride club in my high school, we decorate the school for Pride Month. We have banners that are like acceptance, we love who you are. We have like little rainbow hearts hung up. Yeah,
My
everywhere.
school district in 2021 had 231 pride posters and advertisements around our school. I sent my kids and our friends' kids in and said, go count them all. I want to know. 231 pride posters. What are we doing? Why are we glamorizing sexuality? Who cares? I don't care
This
if your
isn't
kid
what
is,
should be the focus in school.
It's not.
But this is the social
where it
emotional
belongs.
learning, which was introduced a long time ago. It always comes with like something that's seemingly good, but there's
and they're so proud of themselves.
terrible
for it.
agenda behind it.
You know, the guidance counselor's windows outside of in our school in Bethpage had a little pride flag that said safe space, and I lost my mind.
We
one
have
day.
that too.
But how polar? Like, okay, so what about all the other kids that need help? Who are being bullied? Who are getting raped? Their father beats their mother. They don't get a hot meal. They have their own self-image issues. Where's the safe space for all those kids?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Schools should be a safe place for all
everybody.
people, and it should be focused on two things: education and character.
That's
the
right.
end.
And accountability.
Treat all people equally and well. Don't
Be
bully
kind.
anybody. And if you see somebody bullying somebody, you step in.
stop it. Yep.
Like that's it. It's that simple. We do not need to be politicizing and indoctrinating children and putting this stuff before them at such a young age.
Yeah,
it's just outrageous.
And that's why
Somewhere
we,
along the way.
that's why we're developing. We developed in our school like I guess how you call it. It's like a mission and vision, and then it's like a tagline. We're building leaders one child at a time, and that's what we want our kids to focus on. How can they be a leader in our community? That's your focus. It's not about these things, anything else. It's about what are you doing? Are you an academic star? Are you a music star? Are you an athlete? Are you, like, what is your passion, and how are you and like how are you wound up into
What
the
is your
fabric of
gift?
our
Yes.
and because each one of these things is what makes our district great, and it takes somebody from everything. So that's why we try to be everything for everybody, because everyone has something that they're good at, and we're saying find what you're good at and go
cultivate that.
And that's what we're trying to
One
do.
of the problems is that our society also has glorified and glamorized very specific things like athletics to a sick point. And I'm all for it. I have sons who played, but it always goes back to I used to do this in nursing and like in a leadership role of just whatever. Really just it goes back to a biblical principle, which is the body is made up of many parts, and not one part is greater than the other. And it takes the whole body functioning together to work and fulfill its purpose and do its job. So people, in all circumstances, I don't care if it's in your school, in on a team, in an organization, bring your talents, bring your skills, bring your gifts, bring your weaknesses, bring all of it, and just serve one another and serve the greater purpose, right? And like life is good.
Simple.
It's really not that complicated. It's not that complicated.
Well, that's what we're hoping to do. That's what we're trying to make the focus for our kids, and we do it in that, making a leader one child at a time. So
love that.
Oh, it's incredible. I should have sent you our video. It's really good. We have a really good video.
We'll play it again. Absolutely.
Another time. But and I appreciate you guys and your support, and always giving this giving us time to speak about it, and like you said, with Margaret, and now she's moved on to greater things, leading a new school, and it's fantastic. She's been doing great things, and I wish more school districts would be courageous. I just
it's really hard. It's like candidates right now. I withdrew my paper. When you said all 5 of you were in lockstep, in a weird way, I was like kind of envious, because I was running for school board in 2021, was it? I ended up withdrawing my papers for like life circumstances, but at the same time, I kept thinking to myself, I can make a lot of noise and piss off the board members, but I was going to be outvoted 6-1 every single time. And that's when I decided to join a congressional campaign and thought to myself, okay, if this candidate wins, I know he's going to fight on the congressional level. He promised me that. And I thought I could have a bigger purpose, but I think a lot of the problem is for the school boards is that a lot of them don't, unfortunately, are in lockstep, or if they are, they just follow each other. Like it's like the left.
I'm seeing we've had a couple of school boards that have completely turned over. There was a woman. It was a 6-1 board, and now it's 7-0 the other way.
Wow, that's exciting. I think it takes people time too.
It does.
It does. But even those districts are still like, we're gonna, we don't want to make waves just yet. We're still getting our feet,
No,
we're
come in with the tidal wave, guys.
Like, come on, but I have to give everybody their space. But Long Island, and especially Nassau County, is really taking a turn to the right. A very hard turn. And to have all of these school boards who are not, and who are doing things opposed to what their community wants, people have gotten complacent again. And I really would love for people to kind of speak up and now start get involved. Still.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, both of you sitting at the ends of this table are doing extraordinary things, and we're so grateful for each of you. And
thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us tonight,
both of you.
We'd love to close in prayer.
Anytime.
We close in prayer every week, so if you wouldn't mind joining us, please do.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, Heavenly Father, we thank you for guiding us in our conversation today. May the words spoken plant seeds of truth, faith, and courage in the heart of everyone listening. Bless our guests and our audience with wisdom to walk in your light and strength to stand firm in your truth. Let all we do bring glory to your name and draw others closer to you. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
And
As always, keep your faith strong, your family close, and your freedom alive.
We'll see you next week, right?
Good night, everybody.
Thanks again, guys.
Thank you for having us.
It's been a joy.
It really has. Thank you for both for what you're doing.
Good night, guys.